Chapter 12. A Voice in the Dark. Penny's face was grave as she returned to the living room where Mrs. Weems awaited her. Miss Harmon's message baffled her completely. She was sorry the young woman had hung up the receiver without giving her full details of the witch doll's mysterious reappearance. "The doll couldn't have come back," Penny muttered. "I don't believe in such things." "What are you saying?" inquired the housekeeper. "Was the call for me, Penny?" "No, it was for Miss Harmon. I'll run over to see her as soon as I can." "Then you'll not be going with me to Ossandra's?" "Well," Penny did not wish to give up the trip. "I guess I can run over to the theater after we get back. There's no particular hurry." Miss Weems locked the doors and they went down the street together. As they drew near the building on Clark Street, Penny remarked uneasily that she hoped Ossandra would not mistake her for a reporter. "And why should he?" asked Mrs. Weems. "Such notations as you do have sometimes surprise me." Penny kept well behind the housekeeper as they went up the stairway to Ossandra's waiting room. Several persons were there ahead of them, seated around the walls in uncomfortable, straight-backed chairs. Penny noticed one man dressed in rough, soiled clothing and wondered if he might be Jenny's father. There were two girls, obviously housemaids, who whispered and giggled, as well as three old women who appeared to come from well-to-do families. Penny and Mrs. Weems seated themselves, but did not have long to wait. Exactly at the stroke of 2, the little window in the wall swung open. A man with a hideous, scarred face peered out at the assembly. "Surely it isn't Ossandra," Penny whispered. "No, his assistant," Miss Weems informed. After studying the group for a moment, the man pressed a button and an unseen door opened. "Enter," he commanded. "Have your fee ready, please." Everyone rose and filed into the next room. Penny, the last person to pass through the door, turned to stare at Ossandra's assistant. She received an unpleasant shock. He was a dwarfish man of about 50, with a pronounced hump. Seeing his intense gaze fastened upon her, Penny looked quickly away. The girl found herself in a gloomy chamber, which had been draped with black velvet. The windows were covered with the same heavy material, and even the ceiling was black, decorated with a sparkling mishap of silver stars. "Nice and spooky," Penny whispered. In the center of the room stood a large circular table with 8 empty chairs. The 9th chair, directly in front of an object not unlike a blackthorn, was occupied by the great Ossandra. He was the same man Penny had met before, but he appeared far more impressive in his dark velvet robes. With a majestic gesture, Ossandra waved everyone into the chairs. "Join hands so that our connection with the spirit world beyond may not be broken," he commanded in a specular voice. Penny slipped into the chair beside Miss Weems and clasped hands with the neighbor to the left. She stole a quick glance at the persons about the big round table. Everyone looked grimly seriously. Every eye was focused upon the medium. Penny resisted an impulse to giggle. As Ossandra's gazed sharply at her, she ducked her head lest she should be recognized. "Now, ladies and gentlemen," said the medium, "to prove that I use no tricks or mechanical devices, I shall ask my assistant to bind my hands and feet." "Spider?" "Yes, master." The hunchback padded softly across the room to Ossandra's throne chair. Deftly he bound the man with stout cords. Penny watched in fascination. Suddenly, without knowing exactly why, she felt a great distaste for the entire scene. She had come to Ossandra's establishment more for a lark than because of any other reason. Now she no longer had zest for the adventure. There was a repulsive quality about the hunchback which sent the shivers down her spine. She shook off the feeling as the girl at her left said in a hushed voice, Please, oh Sandra, may I speak with my departed brother Frank? I will try to get through to him, murmured the medium. We will all concentrate very hard upon Frank. Light, Spider. Yes, master. The hunchback padded away. Turning slightly in her chair, Penny saw him move through the exit and close the door behind him. Evidently, in the outside room, there was a board which controlled the illumination. In a moment, the room was dark. O spirit of the netherworld, O Sandra intoned, I summon you, I summon you. Penny could feel Mrs. Weems' hand tremble in her own, and the girl to her left was shaking, as if from an ague. She felt none too comfortable herself. Although it was midday, not a gleam of light filtered into the black-shrouded room. Penny was unable to see an inch before her. Everything was still, so quiet that she could hear the uneven breathing of those who sat about the circular table. Unexpectedly, there was a gentle tapping sound so close to Penny that she jumped. The knocking came from the table. "Are you there, Frank?" called Sandra softly. His voice was dying away, as if the man was fast slipping into a trance. The raps were repeated 3 times, and then the room became quiet once more. "Have you a message for your sister, Frank?" urged the medium. "Try to get through to us. We're ready." His last words were spoken with a hint of impatience, and it instantly occurred to Penny that Sandra was waiting for his assistant to provide the requested message. For a long moment there was no response to the medium's appeal, and then suddenly a great voice filled the room, a snarled voice pregnant with hatred. The words boomed out, seeming to come from the throne directly behind him. "Melvin O'Sandra, beware! Your hour will come next." There was an indistinct choking sound and then silence. "That wasn't Frank's voice," screamed the girl at Penny's left. "Turn on the lights! Turn on the lights!" Panic swept the little group. Chairs were pushed back. Some were overturned. Women began to scream, and strangely, Sandra's voice did not arise to quiet their fears. Penny groped her way to the wall, but she could not locate the exit or the panel which controlled the electric lights. "Spider!" she called. Seemingly, Sandra's assistant had disappeared from the outer room. Locating a window, Penny jerked off a long fold of black velvet which screened it. She pushed up the sash and opened the shutters. As a beam of sunlight filtered into the dark room, a gasp of horror escaped the little group. Melvin O'Sandra, his feet and hands still bound, lay face down on the circular table. Do, 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 do.